to the cloud. Okay. And if you can mute your mics, that would be wonderful. So my name is Shanté Paradigm Smalls, and I'm the co-founder and the curator for Weekly Dharma Gathering. We meet usually on Wednesday nights, every Wednesday, with a different teacher from various meditation traditions. And the talks are live, and then we also record them. And you can go to our website that you did to see our next upcoming 2 or so talks. And we thought in this time, we also started offering Mondays and Fridays free meditation. So on Mondays for the next couple of weeks, Ashley Dinges, one of the other co-founders, will be leading a Learn to Meditate on Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. EST free. And I will be doing this compassion practice on Fridays, various compassion practices for the next, today and 2 more weeks. And we actually have a special body-based offering coming up next Saturday, which we'll be posting about. Someone wants to do something for people to get embodied. So we have a lot happening next week. You can follow us on social media, on Instagram or Facebook, Weekly Dharma. And tonight, I would like to offer practice of a compassion practice called Tonglen, or sending and taking, or sending and receiving, sending out and taking in. It's also sometimes called Maitri or Metta. But first, I just want to invite us all to just feel our bodies wherever we're at. You don't have to do anything special. You can be sitting cross-legged. You could be laying down. You could be standing. I'm sitting on a Japanese bench, so my knees are folded under me. I'm sitting on a bench. You could be sitting with your legs stretched out, standing up, whatever is comfortable for you. And just check in with your body. How does your body feel? What do you notice? Not without judgment or trying to change anything, but just noticing what's happening in your body, the temperature of your body, the buoyancy of it, its tightness or its looseness, its awakeness or its fatigue. We're just noticing what's going on in our body, where we can feel it, our feet, our knees, our neck, our face, our belly, our hands, our jaw, our hips. Next, we bring that same feeling and noticing to our emotional state. What's our feeling state like? Again, not trying to capture it or let it run wild, but just knowing the landscape of our body and now our feelings. If it's hard for you to touch into your feelings, you can just, in your own mind or with your mic muted, say out loud what you're feeling. And finally, you can just notice what's happening in your mind? Is your mind calm? Is it racing? Is it in between those two? Is it up and down? Is it spacey? Is it tight? Whatever the quality of your mind is at this moment, that's fine. So welcome everyone. I'm really glad you're here. Some faces or some names I know and some I don't. Again, for those of you who just came on, my name is Shanté Paradigm Smalls. I'm a meditation and Dharma. I'm a Buddhist teacher. And we're going to be doing Tonglen. I'd first like to acknowledge where I am, the original inhabitants of this land, the Muskogee Creek Nation, and just call those ancestors in to be with us and support us. You can call in your local indigenous tribe, the people who still inhabit these lands, as well as the lands of Alabama and northern Florida. I also call in the ancestors of my own Xhosa, Wolof, Ifa, Akan, Fulani, Zulu, and others who were forcibly brought to this land and forced to work on this land. I call in those from the Southern Americas and the East. Southern America's Panama, Brazil, Colombia, Guyana. From the East, Malaysia, Laos, Vietnam, who escaped violence, long reach of colonialism to come to this land and be met with more violence. And I just call upon all of you and your ancestors who have practiced and worked so that we could be here today. To practice with one another. So the instruction of Tonglen, first let me say what it is. It is a practice of giving out and taking in, or as I said, sending and receiving. Tong means to give or to send, and Len means to receive or take in. And in this sense, we are asked to exchange ourselves for others. But before we do that, we have to connect with ourselves and stabilize, clear, and strengthen our own mind so that I'm not sending out my confusion or my neurosis or my aggression. We tap into the well of our own basic inherent intelligence or worthiness, or wisdom mind that we sometimes may forget that we possess just by being born. And this isn't some sort of fake bullshit. It's really taking in the feelings of violence and terror, fear, grief, and horror, and transmuting it and transforming it through the jewel of our wisdom in our heart. So these practices came from, were revealed to a gentleman named Jigme Lingpa in the 18th century. He was a Tibetan master. And he wrote a series of practices, including this practice. And it is said that these were revealed to him because at that time, the world needed a tremendous amount of ability to practice compassion. We still do. And in English, the word compassion comes from the Latin meaning co-suffering, so that we're in this together. And that if suffering is real, as the First Noble Truth states, we can be willing to hold each other's hands and walk through hell together so that we might be liberated and free. But first, we work with ourselves, we stabilize, we do no harm, we strengthen, and then we work with others to do the same. So before I give the practice instructions, I'd like to just read this short passage from a book called The Buddha's Wife, which is about sort of a historical fiction about Yashodhara, who was married to Buddha Shakyamuni. If I can find the passage I'm looking for. The others sat in a close circle around her. One woman lit incense. Pajapati, who was Yashodhara's mother-in-law, began to chant the Hindu prayers. It was as if the energy that existed on the ground in that grove, beneath those ancient trees and beside that pool and temple, was being called forth to meet the desperate Yashodhara and the circle around her. The dawn prayers and shared chants, the moments of silence seemed to gather the old, deep energies of the earth and nature to focus it amongst the circle of women. Yashodhara's tears seemed unending. She wept in silence. The gathering that morning didn't last long. There was work to do, but it had a calming effect. The women decided to meet again at dusk, and this simple ritual practice seemed to take hold and then take shape. The morning prayers were chanted to ask for help for the day from the goddesses and gods. The evening gathering was to give thanks to all the gods for their daily care, asking for help, giving thanks every morning, every evening. They called it, this gathering at the grove, their circle of compassion. So I invite you to find a comfortable position for yourself. Again, that could be standing, laying down, sitting in any position you like. And first, we're just going to feel our body breathing, letting the front of our body be soft and relaxed, and the back of our body hold us up, balancing soft and sturdy. Your eyes can be closed or open, but the gaze should be soft. Even if they're closed, you should have a soft, not tightly closed. And if they're open, they can just be softly landing in front of you about the length of your own body. And just begin to relax into this body, feeling your feet and your seat, or the points where your body touches the earth, feeling the support of your mother, your first mother, the earth, how she holds us all. And being able to relax some of the tension of holding yourself up when you can relax into being held, cared for. And begin to feel your body as it breathes. Just your regular breath. Wherever you feel the breath in your body. its temperature and speed. Its sound. Feeling it in your whole body. Letting physical sensations, emotions, and thoughts arise, abide, and dissolve on their own. Just making more space for them. You don't have to stop them or wrangle them in or obsess over them. They arise and fall just as your breath arises and falls. And as you're breathing, begin to breathe in what's hot and heavy for you, and breathe out what's cool and light for you. So just the feeling of hot, not a situation, the feeling of heat and heavy, breathing in, and the feeling of cool and light, breathing out. Feel free to close your eyes. Breathing in what's hot and heavy, and breathing out what's cool and light. If at any point during this practice you feel yourself being overwhelmed with emotion, just come out of it. You can go back to calm abiding practice, or just stop the whole thing and just regulate yourself as you know best. So there's no pressure to keep going if you're feeling overwhelmed. Breathing in heat and heavy, breathing out cool and light in weight. And you can just let that dissolve. Bringing your own self to your mind. Bring to mind a situation that is currently difficult for you. Breathe in the difficulty of that situation and breathe out the solution or antidote or the relief to that situation. So breathing in something that's currently difficult for you, breathing out a resolution or solution or antidote to that difficulty. Breathing in what's challenging for you, for yourself right now, and breathing out what's a solution or an antidote or a resolution to that difficulty. You're taking in what's difficult for yourself into your heart and then breathing out the antidote for that difficulty. Something that's about you. And you can just let that dissolve. Remembering that if you begin to feel too overwhelmed, please feel free to just relax out of the practice. But sometimes tears do come when you do compassion practices. Bringing to mind someone you love or something you love, a being that you love that's alive in the world. Calling to mind a difficulty they may be contending with. First, holding that difficulty in your heart. Breathing in that difficulty and then breathing out a resolution or antidote or solution, like the coolness we started out with. Holding that person in your heart, mind, breathing in their difficulty and breathing out a solution or resolution or some peace to them, something soothing for that difficulty. And we'll do that for a little bit. Breathing in a loved one's challenge and breathing out a compassionate solution. Letting that melt. Next, calling to mind an enemy that's near to you or someone, a difficult relationship that is near. So someone you know, not someone you might say see on television, but someone you know where it's a difficult relationship. Calling that person to your mind, heart, and bringing to mind your perception of their challenges. Breathing that in, their challenges for themselves, and breathing out compassionate antidote to their pain. Relief, breathing in their pain or their difficulty and breathing out what would be relieving for that person in your mind. This may be a family member, someone at work, a neighbor. You may be someone who has to deal with customers. So breathing in that near enemy, a difficult person, breathing in their pain and breathing out relief for them. And then letting that dissolve. Coming back into your own body. Regulating your breath if you need to. Next, you can bring to mind a far away enemy, someone you maybe don't know, or some structure, something that maybe raises something or someone that raises strong feelings in you. So a structure or a person, call that to mind. A far enemy or a far difficult person or a far someone that or something that riles you up. And breathe in that person or that structure's pain. And breathe out the person or structure's resolution, the compassionate resolution or antidote. Sometimes it helps if this is a very difficult relationship to put fucking in front of it. So fucking blah, blah, blah. Bringing in that person or situation's pain and bringing it to your heart and then exhaling the wisdom or the solution or the resolution. You can let that relax. Stabilizing yourself if you need to with your breath or coming into a feeling of your body, touching a part of your body that brings you comfort, or touching the earth that grounds you. Bringing to mind a large issue uh, that is on your mind that's impacting um, the world, or a group of people that you'd like to bring to mind, a specific group of people you'd like to bring to mind, a specific country, a specific population, a specific situation, whatever you would like to bring to mind, that population or um, country or city or nation, state, or whatever it is, bring that pain to your heart, breathing it in into your heart center and letting your heart transform it and offer, breathing out a resolution or antidote or the wisdom solution. So again, bringing in a large group or a situation that impacts many people. Breathe in that, whatever it is, pain, confusion, terror, fear, and breathe out the solution, the antidote, the coolness, the wisdom. Letting that dissolve, allowing yourself to stabilize. We're going to again just offer compassion to ourselves, bringing in what is difficult for ourselves and offering out the wisdom solution to that difficulty. It may have changed since we started. letting that dissolve. Once again, bringing in what is hot and heavy, just with no narrative, just bringing in the feelings of heat and heaviness, like smog, and breathing out what is cool and clean and airy. Breathing in what is hot and heavy. Breathing out what is cool, airy. Letting that dissolve and just coming back to the feeling of your own body. Feeling your feet in your seat. Opening your eyes if you like, keeping a soft gaze. Coming back into the here and now. If you're feeling the need for regulation, you can touch the earth, or you can touch your heart and belly with your hands. You can lay down, you can stand up. Just feeling your body as it breathes. Experiencing your own wisdom and incredible resilience, connection, and strength to each other and to many, many people and networks in the world. Past, present, and future. I'll ring the gong to end this session, and if people would like to leave, they may, and if you would like to ask a question, if you go into the chat feature, I believe there's a part where you can raise your hands. If you hover over your name, I believe you should be able to raise your hand, and I should see a blue hand mark and can call on you, I think. Thank you so much. Are there any questions that people would like to ask? Let me see if this, you can ask me in the chat, you're welcome, or you can raise your hand if you have any questions, or you can ask me a question by, it will be recorded, the recording is on. You're welcome. You can unmute your mic and your video and ask a question. I don't know if the hand raising feature is working. Hold on, I don't see any hands raised. Is it working? Do you see it, the hand raise? Ah, yes, Jesse.
It's working.
Hold on, Jesse, you're breaking up on my side. Can you say that again?
Hi.
Hi. Good to hear your voice.
I'm in pajamas, right?
That's
Hi.
fine. Hi.
Yours too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh, that was your question? Okay, thank you. Does anyone have a question about this practice or anything that they have experienced? Okay, I saw that there was a note that some people went to the landing page and thought it was happening there. So I'll make sure that tech people know to put a reminder on the landing page to click. You have to register in order to join the Zoom room. So I'll pass that message on to them. Did someone have a question? I hear someone's mic is off. No? I would just also like to say that Monday we'll be offering a free Learn to Meditate. Okay, there's a question. And I'll be doing another Tonglen practice next week that'll be body-based on next Friday. So it's a little bit different. Next Wednesday, Kelsey, I'm forgetting her last name, from the Bay Area will be teaching called Your Body is Your Guru. That's a paid, but we also have a 7-day free trial. And then we'll be doing a special, there'll be a somatic body worker coming in next Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So we'll be putting that all out on social media or our mailing list. Kelsey Blackwell, thank you. Couldn't remember her last name. The question is, thank you for this beautiful, okay, thank you. May I ask you to speak to transforming fear to love, the practice of presence, to cultivate compassion and faith during these trying times? Yes. So I would like to say a couple of things about compassion. So one is that compassion is different from loving kindness. So loving kindness practice in Buddhism is more sort of one way. It's like when you're like trying to offer someone loving kindness in order to sometimes to work with your own feelings of not loving kindness for someone. The compassion practices, particularly Tonglen, but all the compassion practices come in a cycle of teaching that has to do with be a bodhisattva or a heart warrior, bodhicitta is our awakened heart. So the bodhisattva, the heart being or awakened being, takes on the pain of others. So the compassion practices are really like breathing in the fear. And because we've worked with our own mind and heart, our heart is able to transform that fear or transmute it into wakefulness or fearlessness. So not without fear, but able to walk through the fear. So this is not to say you don't have emotions and all that. We use our emotions. It's like transforming poison into the antidote. So the very thing, right? Our very own bad behavior, our neurosis, our terror, our fear, other people's bad behavior, toilet paper hoarding, whatever, rather than that becoming, I suck, these people suck, this is the worst, the world is ending. Even if the world is ending, we say, okay, here are the feelings that I'm having. How can I use that to work in the moment? So we work with breathing it in rather than avoiding it and letting it simmer a little bit, and then breathing out, what's the antidote? Even if there is no answer, what's the solution, even if there is no solution, right? So the fear itself is actually what we ingest. And we let our breath and our mind, right? Yes, it's like our breath is a thought feeling purifier. We let our breath and our mind and our heart we let it really go into the heart. We let the heart churn it up, and then we say, oh, what comes to me? I have to think about, cognitively, I have to think about what's the solution to this. Sometimes it's broad. Okay, I'm feeling anxiety. Sometimes it's, you know, relaxation, right? Or sometimes it's, I think about someone who's a narcissist, unable to take direction and work with other people when a lot of people are depending on that person to do that. And I say, listen to others, right? So sometimes it's a very specific kind of sending out. And we do that in order that other people are impacted by our minds. We direct our minds toward reducing the amount of fear, panic, terror in the world, starting with ourselves. So that's why when you do this practice, you start and end with a little peaceful abiding practice to stabilize yourself. Because these compassion practices, we're jumping into the muck and the mire. Or as I like to say, you're taking someone's hand and you say, hey, we're gonna walk through hell together. And that often brings up those feelings. So take that stuff that's terrifying and bring it, stabilize your mind first, and then bring it in. Don't run away from it. Breathe it out, and do short sessions, you know, so you can do it very quickly or do it on the spot. Oh, I'm feeling so much anxiety, or I'm feeling so much anger. Just do a quick, you know, hot, heavy, cool, you know, light. Bring yourself, a little bit of yourself, and then bring that situation in. So there is actually a recording of this, me doing Tonglen from December, and it's also, I think, it's somewhere on Weekly Dharma Gathering. But you can, if you're not a member, or if you don't or can't pay, you can sign up for a 7-day free trial, and you can watch everything you can in 7 days. So any other questions before I close out the room? I hear that this interesting. I hear that this coronavirus that impacts the lungs so much is about world grief. How do we transmit grief? Through breathing. So yeah, this is a beautiful metaphor and sentiment, and probably the reality of the world. The earth is being able to experience a little bit of breath with humans moving about less. And she is healing herself. So it's not just the breath, it's the whole body. So it's like feeling the body, breathing. We actually experience grief because many times, first we stabilize our mind, we stabilize our body, we stabilize our emotions. If we're not in a place where we can do this work, we save it for another day, right? It's not about hurting ourselves. It's like, I'm just not in the space. I don't have enough strength, clarity, and stability to do this. We save it for another day, or we just say, maybe we just do something very light. But it's not just our breath. We use the breath as a visualization tool, but it's really like breathing in grief into our bodies, into our hearts, holding it in the chamber of our heart, letting our heart transform grief. Well, letting our heart first feel the grief. And then what's the solution to grief? What's the antidote to grief? I think it's actually feeling it. And then letting the feeling of grief come out, the relaxation that comes when I stop fighting feeling grief. There's a little bit of relaxation when we melt into the actual feeling, not the busyness or the terror above that, but real grief breaks the heart open and makes us supple. And we're just open, right? So grief is to be felt, not done away with. And once we actually feel and experience grief, solutions or the antidote begins to arise. Grief arises because of mourning. We're mourning something that has died, that has ended. Many times, although not always, unexpectedly. And this is an unexpected grief that's impacting the world and will continue to. So rather than try to run from it, we experience it and we let it break our heart. And then the broken heart contains our wisdom. And from that broken-hearted place, that tender place, we begin to be able to see and feel and act and hear and taste and touch from a place of wisdom, rather than a place of, I've got to fix this. You know, one of the things that I noticed when this, so I'm an urban prepper, so I've been getting ready since a month ago, but that's a whole other story. But one of the things I began to notice is that people were really getting into certain kinds of solutions, like in my field, my work, like, okay, this is what they're going to try to do and we have to do. And I thought, let me just experience the feelings of not knowing what's going on, feeling afraid, you know, a lot of information to sort through, rather than like, first, like, let us breathe together and feel our feelings. And what's happened is a lot of space has opened up for me. And I'm like, oh, some shit needs to change in me. I need to do some things differently, you know? So feeling that pain, feeling that, like, what, actually, this is an opportunity for me to, maybe I need a lot of rest. Because I've been grinding. As much as I work to create a lot of space in my life, the flow of things as a New Yorker, you know, I'm living between New York and Atlanta, the grind, you know? So all my flights were canceled. And I was like, praise be. Thank you. I can relax. So I think we first need to experience feeling. Then we touch into that. Maybe I'll do that practice next week. We feel first, then we touch into that. We let that feeling touch into us or spread, right? We really experience it. And then we can be with it. From that, then we know how to act, rather than acting first or getting on the computer or whatever. It's creating a little bit of space, even if it's 2 minutes a day, to feel what we're feeling. And then that informs me. What am I feeling in my body, in my mind, and in my emotions? Okay, that's the ground. So please feel free to, Monday, Ashley will be doing Learn to Meditate. So just simple shamatha, vipassana meditation, peaceful abiding meditation. Wednesday is a talk called Your Body is Your Guru. Next Friday, I'll be offering another compassion practice. I haven't decided what, but it'll be something. And then next Saturday, we'll do some body-based stuff with another teacher. So we'll get it all up on the website. We'll get it on our social media by the end of the weekend, and we'll get it out via email. So I thank you all for being here. Ah, Samina, so good to see your face. And I thank you all for being here. Lou, oh, it's just nice that people joined. And please feel to follow us on Instagram at Weekly Dharma. Yes, I think that's the name. And on Facebook at Weekly Dharma Gathering. Thank you so much. And the recording should be up within 48 hours, if not sooner. Good to see you, Jahan. Michelle, Gail, there's so many people I know. Thank you. Have a good night. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay healthy, everyone. Good to see you, Liana.